Introducing my next special guest on my show now, I have the one and only Bird. Bird joining me for a chat. How are we doing, Bird, today? How are we doing?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yes, it's really nice to meet you because I have heard so much about you over the years. I've been playing a couple of your songs, so finally, good to put a face to a name.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you for playing my songs. That's really
Yes,
cool.
pleasure. So, Bird, is that's not your real name, is it? But it's a stage moniker, is it?
It is, yeah, well spotted. Yeah. No, my real name is Janie Price. But I've been Bird ever since I started my singer-songwriter career, really. It seemed like a really good idea back then. Now it's like not very Googleable, so I
Ah,
don't know.
yes, we'll come to that a bit later, but it's good to have a mystery about oneself, isn't it?
Yeah, I think also it's nice because when you have a stage name, it allows you a lot more freedom to be kind of diverse in what you do as well. So, for example, maybe I want to do a project with other musicians. Well, I can still do that if I'm Bird. If I'm Janie Price, then that automatically kind of places me as just a solo artist. So it kind of felt more inclusive to have a, you know,
It,
separate name.
it's amazing how a lot of mainstream artists do kind of have pseudonyms and do projects under that umbrella.
Yeah, I think also it's there's something mentally quite nice. You know, it's like almost like a uniform for a job, isn't it? It's
Mm.
like you sort of stick on that name and then you become that version of yourself. And you know, like music is like integral and part of me, but it's also, you know, it's a job too. So it's quite nice that I can kind of, you know, at the end of a long day, I can get out with my friends and they call me Janie and it doesn't feel like work. But you know, if I'm in the studio, then I'm Bird. So it's kind of cool.
That's great. Where in the world are you at the moment?
Right now, today, I'm in London.
Okay, and that's where you're based, England.
Not really. I'm based between England and Italy. I live in Italy most of the time. So
Oh, very
yeah, I just sort
nice.
of do.
So, does Italy inspire a lot of your artistic side of you and your music?
I don't know. I don't think so because it's just really nice and like nice stuff doesn't really inspire great music work. So but it's definitely a peaceful place, much more peaceful than living in London. So I think in terms of being able to get on with my work, then I would say that it's really helpful for that. It's easier for me to record and write in a quiet environment. But when I get inspired, I need a bit of grit.
Yeah,
So come back to London.
yeah. A home away from home, then. That's what they say.
Yeah,
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 cool.
exactly.
Right then, I'm going to cut to the chase now because we're here to talk about your lead single. It's called The Tides.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you do diversify in all types of parts of the music world, and this one delves into film soundtracks.
It does, yeah, it does. But I mean, I wrote a short film called Wiser in the Sky, which is currently doing a festival circuit, short film festival circuit, and the Tides is the track which I kind of based the musical score for the film around, really. So it sort of inspired the music that's used in the film and is also in the film itself.
Also, can I ask who you worked with on this project as well?
Yeah, so well, the sort of I suppose the music and the film project are kind of separate. So the single I worked with a writer called John Paul White, and he was in a band called the Civil Wars that some of your listeners may have heard of. They are a fantastic duet band from America, the Americana folk. And I chose to work with John because we'd met years earlier, worked through a mutual publishing agreement years ago. We did some writing together. And I think with this body of work that will hopefully eventually next year be an album, I think that I just wanted to get back to my roots again. You know, I'm half Irish and I wanted to go a bit more folk. So I wanted to work with writers who had that kind of bent. So working with John on the single, like felt like the right thing to do. And then for the film, I wrote that by myself, and I also co-produced it with a brilliant production company called Emu Films. Had a director called Phil Taylor who did that, and then I composed the soundtrack myself as well. So,
So, The Wider Than the Sky, is that the short film it's based upon?
so that's the title of the short
Yeah.
film, yeah. So Wider Than Sky, and that's I took the title from a poem by my favourite poet called Emily Dickinson.
Cool. And it says here it's semi-autobiographical, which loosely translate is half kind of real life in a way.
Yeah, that's what it sort of translates as. Yeah, yeah. I basically, when I decided I wanted to write a short, I kind of, you know, I all the work I do has some kind of attachment to something kind of very real and visceral. And so for the film, I decided that I would write about an event that kind of happened to me when I was a child, my dad got very sick and he was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. And it's really about that and what it's like as a child to have a parent who is very, very sick, and the sort of coping mechanisms that children uh, maybe come up with in order to get through those periods. And I was a sort of deeply creative child, no surprise there. And so I kind of imagine these kind of worlds in shoeboxes, and I wanted to sort of make a film about that really. And I also wanted it to be a kind of hopeful, happy film. So, in the end of my film is a little bit of a happy ending, because I just felt like after COVID, the world had enough. I've
And
had enough
and
through it.
this film is doing the rounds at festivals as well, where it's been well received. Is that good to see and
Yeah.
hear?
Yeah, and that was really, I was so grateful, because when you do something a little bit outside of your normal line of work, you always, I've obviously been doing music a long time, but film never. So I didn't have very high expectations. I was like, well, just be fun to do, and it's a great way to put your music into something different and kind of show that it can be used in different ways. So I wasn't really expecting all these festival selections, and we're up for a couple of awards now. And it's really lovely to know that it's making that connection with people, because that's what art's about. It's about trying to make connections with other people and tell stories. And so it's lovely that it's been so well received. Yeah. So I'm off to LA next week for a couple of festivals in America. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Brilliant times ahead then. And a little bit told me you like listening to old Cure records as well.
I do, yeah. I'm a big fan of all music, really. I don't even think I can like define an artist, but The Cure is one of them. And in fact, the producer on the new single was Mike Hedges, who was the original Cure producer, and that's partly why I asked him to come on board and work with me, because I'm a big Cure fan.
Do you have a favourite song of theirs? Mine's The Forest.
I was about to say The Forest. That's so mad. Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways, I think that The Forest actually inspired the Tides a little bit. And maybe as a Cure fan, you might even hear that in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely inspired me lyrically.
And the great outdoors as well, nature, does that influence you as well?
Yeah, I suppose it does. I mean, obviously, call your song The Tides, and you write about a whole, relationship under the water. I guess, yeah, nature is kind of a big theme. Yeah, yeah, especially now that I live in the countryside. No, since I moved to Italy, I live in a forest now, so I'm kind of surrounded by nature. So maybe that is kind of worming its way into my work somehow.
Lovely. And some testimonials here. I'll just pick one up from random. From The Sun, it's a sparkling debut album, burst in with original ideas and watch this space. And the Mail says, stands out from the other budding Katie Mowers by dint of her imaginatively constructed songs. Want to watch a couple of testimonials there. How does that feel to receive positive feedback like that?
Oh, it's always nice. I'm quite shocked that the Sun and the Mail are so culturally aware, to be honest. But no, it's lovely. Joking aside, it's really nice. It's always nice when like I said before with a film, it's nice when you connect to people. It's really nice when you feel that you've managed to kind of touch them somehow, and that provokes a positive response. So it's always lovely, and it's always nice to. I mean, those testimonials are also they're interesting. Katie Melua, obviously, she's not working as much now, and that was more relevant to an earlier album. But I think that it's also really nice to be compared to other artists as well, because you might have an idea of where you might place yourself, but it's great to hear what other people's opinions are as well. And sometimes it really surprises you, and you go, "Oh wow, I didn't think about being like that particular artist." But it's always a compliment, always.
Sure. It's
Yeah.
it's always interesting when you listen to new artists as well. When you hear a song, it kind of reminds you of um, musicians from the past. So your record, The Tides. This may sound strange, but I feel like it reminds me of like Portishead, maybe a bit of Garbage as well, from the
Yeah,
'90s. Massive
yeah.
Attack.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say Portishead, actually. And I mean, yeah, spot on. I would say that, I grew up listening to all those bands. So like Portishead, Goldfrapp, another one that I kind of really like. I feel like that's kind of in there somewhere as well. And actually, I have a studio in Italy now, and I was looking for an old synth, an old CS60, and I ended up buying Portishead's old CS60. So it's not on the song, by the way. Like otherwise, that would be kind of spooky. It'd be like, wow, it's really actually on the music. But I do, yeah, I've got one of their synths. So yeah, I think they're all really relevant influences for me. Yeah.
And I'm going a bit off way of subject here, but Porty said, lovely part of the world in Bristol, actually, a village. I think
Yeah.
whether they're from there, I don't know, but I assume they are.
They are, aren't they? Or one
Yeah.
of them is.
Yes, I guess
I'm
so.
not, I think so. It's, yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
So more crucially now, I said at the start of the interview, where can people find you? You got an official website?
Yeah, I do. So the website is www.birdofficial.com. And if you go on there, you can find all the links to all the social media like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that
Great.
malarkey.
So it's like a central hub for other social media platforms where people can follow you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can also, if you Bird Official on Instagram for all those people that are grammars out there.
Well, that's
So
great.
yeah.
It's a real delight speaking with you, Bird, today. That about wraps up the interview. I'm going to play your new track now, The Tides, on my show.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Would you
Thank
like?
you very much.
Yeah. Would you like to introduce it on?
Yeah, sure. I'm Bird, and this is my new single, The Tides.
Great speaking with you today, Bird. Have a great day and great week.
Likewise. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.